Today I'm going to make a ball kick for a sports game. Oh, the ball's right there at the wall. And I added an animation and vector force. There we go. We got it. Let's get it again. Brah. That's pretty cool. You can make like a little soccer game or something. Sweet. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our ball kicking. I have a fresh base plate right here, and I think I'm going to start out with making my animation. So I'm going to move a little bit like this, and then I'm going to go to the avatar tab. I'm going to hit the rig builder. I'm doing R15 today, so I'm going to select R15, and I'll hit my mesh avatar 2012. Nice. Let's go ahead and get a good look at them. That'll work. Go to animation editor, and then it says click the rig. I'm going to call this ball kick. And then we'll go to these three dots, set animation priority. We need it to be action because when we do a kick, we need to override our movement animation because we might be running at that time. All right, now let's go and save it. And then inside the rig, you're going to see under anim saves, ball kick. Cool. All right, let's get back to our animating. And let's see. I am at the 0 frame here with my scrubber bar. I'm going to try and get this upper leg. There we go. We're going to pull that leg back. And then I'm going to get the lower leg. Oh, it's painful, I know. There we go, lower leg. Pull that up. Let's go to the 6th frame. And then I want to get that upper leg again. Swing it out. Remember, if you go too far, though, the leg might swing the other way. If that happens, you're going to need another set of keyframes in here. But we're not going to do that. Let's go ahead and get that lower leg. Stretch it out a bit. Oh, I lost it. I lost it. There we go. That should work. Let's see what we got. Boom. Cool. Now, what I want to do is I want to actually pause it a little bit in both the back position and the front position so I can see the kick really well. It's going to be too fast in the game. So I'm going to grab these 3 dots since that's where I'm at. Right, I'm going to right click, copy selected. These 3 dots are called keyframes, by the way. And then I'm going to go out here. I'm going to paste the keyframes. That's going to make me hold it there for just, what's that, 2 frames. And we got 30 frames per second. So a very short period of time. I'm going to do the same thing with these keyframes. I'm going to right click, copy selected, and then maybe go to the 2nd frame, paste keyframes, right? I like that. It's kind of a fast kick. Cool. Let's go hit the 3 dots. We can save it because we might need to modify it later. Hit the 3 dots again, publish to Roblox. And we're going to call that ball kick. That's good. Submit. And then get this ID right here. And I'm going to click these 2 boxes. Right? ID copied. We can't lose that, right? So we don't want to copy anything else. All right, now I'm going to go down quickly without losing my ID. In the starter GUI, I'm going to hit the plus. Screen GUI, hit the plus. Text button. It's going to be right here. We're going to get back to it. Hit the plus on the text button. Animation. And then click the animation under animation ID. Go ahead and paste that number. Sweet. Now when you hit your enter, you'll get your Roblox asset ID stuff prepended. We can rename these. We can call this like ball kick anim. Ball kick anim. We could call this button, ball kick button, ball kick BTN. And then I want to put a local script on this, right? So let's go local script. I'll call this ball kick loc, right? So that's my local script. I think I'm going to put my kick anim on my ball kick loc. Right, because I'm only going to use it there. I'm going to load the animation on the client side, and you will be able to see it in the game. There's no problem with that. Let's go ahead and close this. I want to go back to my base plate, and then just mess with the button a little bit, right? So let's get our button. We can move it in place. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. There we go. That should center it. Let's go down and give it a good text so we know what it is. So kick ball maybe. That'll work. And then I always use bangers, right? Bangers. And then let's make that text bigger, text scale. Cool. All right, so there we go. We got the ball kick button, the ball kick loc. It's a local script. See that little computer there? It's got to be local. It's going to run client side. And then I got the ball kick anim underneath it. Let's open up our ball kick loc and start doing some stuff with that. Let's get rid of our print statement, and then let's get a reference to our button, right? Like ball kick button, and that'll just be script.parent. Now I want to get the players service because I'm going to need a player. So players equal game :get service players, and then I'm going to get a local player from the player service. So that's player with no S, right? That's our player. I'm going to say players.local player. Let's get a kick. Oops, I always get that X in there, don't I? And then let's get our kick animation, our ball kick anim. And where do we have that? That's on script. Sometimes scripts need some time to load the things that are underneath them. So I'll do a wait for child, and then what do we call that? Ball kick anim. Yeah. Let's get the character now, right? So we might as well load the character up once the player is ready. So we'll get the player.character, but the character can take like 2 seconds to load. So let's do player.character. If that is nil, we will say or player.character added : wait. So we'll wait right here until the character is added, and then this is going to have a value. It's going to give it to char, right? I call my characters char. It's easier to spell. Let's get a humanoid from the character. So I'll say humanoid equals char, wait for child, humanoid. And then I'm going to need an animator from the humanoid, wait for child, animator. I get my N's and M's mixed up. Animator. Yep, there we go. And then we're going to get a ball kick track when we load our animation in the animator. So I'll say animator : load animation. Too bad we don't get IntelliSense for that. That one I could use. And then we'll get our ball kick anim right here. We're going to load that. I'm just going to paste it. Control V right there. All right. Let's go ahead and call that animation track when we hit our button. So ball kick button dot activated connect. We'll just make it an anonymous function. An anonymous function is a function with no name. It's just going to be inline. And then maybe do our print statement just in case things go horribly wrong. I'll say local player equals, and then I'll just do my player.name. And then we'll do our, what do we call that? Ball kick track, right? That's what we want, the ball kick track, play. Now let's try it out. We'll hit the play button, go to view, output window right here, check for errors. Make this bigger if you want. See what we got. Look at that. He's doing a kick. All right, looking good. Now we have to do our server side. So we're going to need to add a ball and then add the force when we kick it. All right, so I stopped my game and I'm going to work on server side stuff. Now, since we're going to be going from client to server, we're going to need a remote event. That's the gateway between the client and the server. So go to replicated storage, hit your plus, add a remote event, And then we can call this something like ball kick RE. Ball kick RE, remote event. Now, I want to go to my ball kick loc real quick. Open that up. I'm going to get a reference to replicated storage. I'll just call it RS. Game get service, replicated storage. Then I'm going to get my remote event. I'm just going to call it RE here because I'm only going to have one remote event. I'm going to do replicated storage variable, wait for child, and then we'll have our ball kick RE. When we do our ball kick, when we do the animation for it, let's also get the remote event and fire server. Boom. All right. Now let's go back to our workspace. I think I'm going to move this rig down into server storage. I don't want to get rid of him yet in case I want to modify my animation. Just move him down to server storage so he's not in the workspace. And then I'll add a ball to the world. Let's go to home. Part. Oh, you know what? Let's get a soccer ball. Let's get a real soccer ball. Better than the demo, right? Let's get a mesh part. Meshes. And then we'll do soccer. Ooh, it's ER. Soccer ball. Which one looks good? Let's try the first one. Soccer ball. Looks pretty good to me. Let's just call this ball for now. It's not bad. Let's play it. See how big it is compared to the player. Yeah, that'll work. Smaller than the demo, but I think it'll be pretty cool. All right, so let's add a script, a regular script. And I'm going to call this kick response. Let's add some variables to our kick response. Say local ball, that's script.parent. I'm going to need replicated storage because I got to get my remote event. Game, get service, replicated storage. And then I'm also going to get the remote event. I'll just call it RE again. So replicated storage, wait for child, and what do we call that? Ball kick RE, right? Ball kick RE. Now we're going to need two helper functions. I'll just put some placeholders in there. Local function. I'm going to need a function to see if I'm actually looking at the ball. So is looking. We're going to pass in the humanoid root part of the player kicking the ball, and then an angle threshold. All right, for now, let's just return true. We're going to do some calculations though. Oh man, that X again. All right, I want to do another check. Is within range. I'm also going to pass in the humanoid root part, the ball, and the tolerance. Right? Are we close enough? For now, let's just return true. And here's the moment of truth. We're going to get the remote event. We're going to capture the on server event. We will connect it to this function right here. We're going to get the player, right? Because the player is going to get passed over because it came from the client side. I want to get the character again. Well, we got our player. Player.character or player.character added wait. So I'll move this a little bit so you can see it all. There we go. What else? Oh, we're going to need the humanoid root part, right? So we'll say char, wait for child, humanoid root part. That's for our position and orientation of our player. We are going to need a flag to see if we're in range. So I'll say range, FLG for range flag, is within range, HRP and ball. And then What should we make it, like 6 studs? You can make it smaller if you want them to have more precision, right? 6 is kind of, for me, that's about as good as I can get. And then I'm also going to need the looking flag, right? Look flag. Am I facing the ball? So is looking. And that will be HRP, humanoid root part, ball. And then I'm going to give an angle threshold. So 90 degrees, the ball is all the way to my left or right. So I'm going to make it like 80. There's going to be a little bit of an angle, but it's going to be, I can almost kick it even if it's 90 degrees to my right or left. All right, I'm going to need an if statement. I'll say if range flag and look flag, then we are going to do our vector force stuff. So do vector force stuff. Let's see if we get this print out, right? Let's check it out before we go any further. Get into our game. Now we don't need to be near the ball, right? Because we're setting true back no matter what. So I just hit my output window. I'm going to hit my ball or kick ball. There we go. Do vector stuff. So we are getting in there. Turn that off. Go back to our kick response. Close this. And let's start working on, well, we'll do range flag first, right? I know I didn't put them in the same order. It's okay. As long as they're both above this on-server event where we're capturing this on-server event. So the is within range isn't too hard. What we're going to do is we're going to get the humanoid root part, position, subtract the ball position, get the magnitude, and that's actually going to be the distance between the humanoid root part and the ball. And then we'll just say if it's less than the tolerance, we're going to be all right. Right? So this is going to boil down to a Boolean expression, true or false. Is this calculation actually less than our tolerance? If it is, we'll return true. If not, we'll return false. We're too far away. Is looking is going to be hard, right? So, but that's okay. It's I use this in a lot of my other scripts. You can just use it if you don't understand it. So this LV is going to be look vector. I'm going to do the HRP C frame look vector, right? That's the way, that's where we're looking. I'm going to get another variable called facing. I am only going to use a vector 2 because I only care about the X and the Z, not the Y, because we don't want to worry about the size of the ball and matching it up with the height of the humanoid root part. So I'll say look vector X, look vector dot Z. So that's look vector dot X, look vector dot Z. And we're going to get a unit vector. We're going to make that vector of length 1, right? So that's the direction that we're facing without the y-axis, right? And then I'm also going to do a ball POS for ball position. I'm going to make that a vector 2 dot new. I'm going to get my ball dot position X, ball dot position Z, and then we're going to get the humanoid root part. We're going to do the same thing. Humanoid root part position, vector 2 dot new, HRP dot position X, HRP dot position, position Z. All right, so we're going to be using two-dimensional vectors. That way we worry about whether the ball is too far in the air or not with the is within range, but this is going to make things a little simpler. I want to get the direction between my player and the ball. Whoops, don't forget your equal sign. We're going to get the ball position minus the humanoid root part position. Once again, I'm going to make that a unit vector because I only care about the direction, not the length. So it's going to be of length 1. Now I'm going to calculate the angle between the direction I'm facing and the direction of the ball, right? So the ball might be off my look vector. I'm going to get an angle. I'm going to say math arc cosine. I know this is crazy if you guys haven't had trig, but that's okay. If you didn't, just copy it. We're going to get the facing direct vector. We're going to take the dot product, and that's going to give us the angle between the facing and the direction. This angle is in radians, and not a lot of people remember what like pi over 2 is and stuff. So let's go ahead and get degrees from the radians. I'm going to say math dot degree and then pass in the angle. That way I can know what like 80 degrees is, right? So I'll say if degree is less than the angle threshold, then we'll return true. Whoops, I forgot to say true. Else we'll return false. Get rid of this because we're never going to get there. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now, if we're close to our ball and we're facing the ball, we're going to do our vector stuff. You want to just go ahead and do that right now? All right. I need to get the direction once again, but I'm going to get the three-dimensional direction. So I'm going to get the ball dot position minus the humanoid root part position. And we'll just go with direction. Yeah, let's do unit vectors, right? Keep things neat, right? And then what else? We want to get an attachment. We're going to attach it to the ball. So I'm going to say instance dot new attachment ball, right? And then I'm also going to get a force, right? So this is the same I used for my knockback videos too. It's going to be less force, of course. So we'll say instance dot new vector force, right? That's the new body mover. And we're going to put that on the ball. Then I'm going to get my force dot attachment 0 on the force. I'm going to make it my ATT force. And I want to do relative to enum actuator relative to world. So you could have done it like to the attachment, to the world, what have you. But we're going to do it to the world. We're going to set the force. So force dot force, capital F on that force, will be dir. Do we have a unit vector? Yeah, I did the unit vector here, so I don't have to do it here. Times 5,000. That's a pretty good number. I played with them, but you might need to modify that number. That's going to be how hard you hit the ball, how far it flies away. We'll get our force, and we need to apply at center of mass, which won't really be an issue because we're putting our attachment in the center. I think that'll be good. We want to get the game.debris service, add item, dispose of the force, game debris, add item, dispose of the attachment. And I'm just going to let those exist for 0.2 seconds. All right, I think we're good to go. Let's go back to our workspace. Now this ball right here, let's make sure it's plastic because the material is going to make a difference on your force. And it doesn't matter what color it is, right? What's the size? We can make it a little bigger. What happens if we do like 2.5, 2.5, 2.5? You can keep it the same size if you want. I kind of like that. Make sure it's not anchored. It's not anchored. Good. Let's play it. We're going to kick it. There it is. Kickball. That's pretty good. You can put some walls up just so you can you can bounce it around. You don't have to chase after it. So you can kind of kick it to the side, right? We had this on 80 degrees. And it goes off on the corner. I thought that'd be pretty cool. All right, so good luck with that. And maybe we'll do some more stuff with ball and sports and stuff like that. People have been asking about it.